Hey, Monica. You got a minute?
Hey, Bryant, what's up?
It's about Friday's date.
Oh, I see. What is it?
Turns out, I'm not actually gonna be able to make it after all.
Oh?
Sorry, this one's totally out of my hands. I think I mentioned this before, but it's an important business meeting with an overseas company I'm looking to set up a long-term working relationship with. I always have to arrange meetings with these guys with the gap in time zones in mind. Which is why they always tend to be in the evening for me. And there's not much I can do about it.
What's the problem? Surely you can just get the meeting over with early. You're a freelancer, right? I thought you were flexible on stuff like this.
The only reason we're having the meeting in the first place is because of the client, so unfortunately, it's not as simple as dipping out early. Besides, they told me that even if we get done early, it's gonna take at least 4 or 5 hours. Don't worry, babe. I'll make up for it. I promise.
Fine. But if we're canceling, you have to take me to a fancy restaurant next weekend and splash out on me then instead.
Okay, that's fair. What do you want to eat?
I think I'm in the mood for French food.
It's settled then. Let's go to that 3-star French restaurant you've been wanting to go to?
Oh, that place! It looks just amazing. Deal. Thanks, baby.
I heard it's got a dress code, so we have to look the part.
Got it. Oh yeah, that reminds me. It seems like I lost my earring when I was in your room the other day. I can't find it anywhere, and that's the only place I can think of. I promise I won't get in your way while you're working, babe. Do you mind if I come in and look for it now?
Listen. The thing is, I'm just about to head out to meet a client.
Can I go in with the spare key then?
I'm
going out with the girls tomorrow, and I really want to wear those earrings. They're my favorite pair. Please, baby.
Meh. I guess there's no harm. Okay. Please remember one thing, though. My study is off limits. Just like always, okay? Absolutely do not go in there under any circumstances.
Got it.
Monica, good morning. Do you have a minute? There's a little something I need to ask you about.
Sure. What is it?
It's about yesterday. You came over while I was out with a client to look for the earring you lost, right?
That's right. I didn't find it in the end, though.
Oh, really?
That was my favorite earring, too. I was so disappointed.
Yeah, that's a real shame. Anyway, forgive me, but let's put that conversation to one side for a minute.
What's wrong?
Did you go in my study?
I may have gone in there very briefly.
I knew it!
I was so desperate to find my earring. I knew I wouldn't be able to get it off my mind if I didn't go over the entire place with a fine-tooth comb, which meant peeking in your study, too. But don't worry, I didn't look at your computer or any documents or anything official or important looking related to your work. Even if I did, I probably wouldn't understand.
That's fine, but I didn't really have anything that could cause me trouble if you saw it anyway. And that's not what I'm asking about. Listen, Monica? Did you open my desk drawer?
Oh, is this about the ring?
Huh? Yes, it actually is.
Yeah, I took it.
What? You took the ring without my permission?
Well, I figured it was for me anyway. Wait, it was, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, it was, but...
What's the problem then? I just took what was mine. You have no idea how good the timing was on this. You got me out of a real pinch. Thanks, baby.
I got you out of a real pinch.
So here's the thing. Remember that girls' holiday I went on a little while back? You see, one of my friends covered the $350 for my plane ticket. She lent it to me on the condition I pay her back by today. She was really insistent. I got bang on $350 for the ring at the pawnbroker's. Can you believe how lucky that is?
You sold the ring? You sold it for $350?
I did think about trying to haggle the guy up a bit, but whatever. I'm just happy I was able to pay off my debt.
You have got to be kidding me!
But really, Bryant? If you're gonna buy me presents, you really should push the boat out more.
Excuse me?
I understand you never get as much for the retail price when you sell stuff to a pawnbroker, but even taking that into account, I wish you would have bought me something a little higher quality. Aren't I worth more to you than $350?
Oh my God, Monica. What have you done? As far as I can see, either one of two things has happened here. Either you let him haggle you down to an absurdly low price, or you went to a shady pawnbroker.
Huh?
You would have never gotten so little for it otherwise.
What do you mean?
That was an expensive top-of-the-range ring!
Huh? It was? How much?
$25,000!
$25,000?
It had a real diamond in it, and not just a small one either.
Seriously? I thought it was just some cheap, tacky, cubic zirconia.
I bought it at the most luxurious jeweler in the state. I had to book an appointment just to go in and browse, for crying out loud. The appraisal certificate was right next to the ring in the drawer. Are you saying you didn't notice?
I didn't notice. Don't worry, baby. I'm gonna head back to the pawnbrokers and get it back. Just you wait. Ryan's?
How did it go?
They don't have it anymore.
What?
Apparently they sold it yesterday.
Seriously? Do you have any idea who bought it?
They said they're not at liberty to disclose that information.
Oh my God. That's it then. There's nothing we can do.
But this isn't so bad, Bryant. I mean, think about it. It was for me in the first place, right?
Well, it was. But I feel like that's not the...
No problem then. Just think of this as having given me it a little earlier than expected. This happened after I got a hold of it, and I had no way of knowing, so it can't be helped. Plus, it did pay off my debt, every cloud. No use crying over spilled milk, you know. It's fine, baby, really.
What?
I won't deny it is a little unfortunate, but I'm not gonna let it bother me, so you shouldn't either. Please let it go. Okay, that settles it then. That's the end of that.
How can you move on from this so easily?
Life's too short to dwell on bygones. What's done is done. We could cry and complain and be all down in the dumps, but where would it get us? Let's take a forward-looking, constructive attitude towards this, okay? You can't choose what happens to you, but you can choose how you react to it.
What the hell are you talking about? Happens to you? But you're the one who...
More importantly, let's think about something a little more fun. This conversation is boring now. That reminds me. Did you already make the booking at the fancy French restaurant next weekend? Since we don't eat out at places that nice very often, I think we should make the most of it and go for the 7 courses with champagne option.
That's enough.
Huh?
We're not going to the restaurant.
What? Why not? Aren't you forgetting something? This is your way of apologizing to me for canceling our date on Friday. You still have making up to do, mister. It has nothing to do with the whole ring thing. You're still not hung up on that, are you? Geez, seriously? You better not be sulking.
You still don't understand, do you?
Understand what?
Come on, just think about this. When do I buy you presents? Excluding our anniversary and your birthday, I almost literally never buy you anything. Yet there I was, about to give you a $25,000 ring. Did that not make you stop and think about it for even 1 second?
No, not this again. Look, baby, I'm really touched you bought me something so nice. I am. But it's gone now. Can't we just, get over it already?
That was an engagement ring!
Huh?
The booking at the French restaurant next week. On the surface, it was my way of apologizing for the date we missed on Friday. But in reality, the plan from the beginning was to propose to you there.
What? Really?
Remember before, when you said you'd always dreamed of being proposed to at a luxury restaurant with a beautiful view of the nighttime landscape? The plan was to get down on one knee while we were eating and pop the question. I wanted to make your dream a reality. That's why I intended to keep it hidden from you until the day. It was supposed to be a surprise. That's why I went out of my way to make sure the ring was stashed away in the desk drawer of my study that you weren't supposed to go in. Huh? What kind of reaction is that?
Sorry, baby, I'm just a little incredulous. Forgive me, but I have to ask you this. Can you really afford something as expensive as a $25,000 ring?
Huh?
Do freelancers really make that much money?
That differs from person to person.
But you buying a $25,000 ring? I just can't believe it.
I just went with the old, an engagement ring should be 3 times your month's salary rule. And that's how much it came to.
What? So you must make, over $8,000 a month? And wait, what? No, wait, $10,000 a year?
Well, there are taxes and some other minor deductions to take into account, but if you calculate a rough overall figure, then yes, more or less.
Well, if you're that rich, you could just buy me a new ring then, can't you?
Huh?
I understand what happened is a little unfortunate, but if you work hard, you can make up for it in no time. It's just like they say, when you fall off your horse, you get straight back on it.
You're something else.
Do it for me, Bryant.
No, No! That's it. I can't do this anymore.
Where's your fighting spirit? And to think you call yourself a man. Did you say the restaurant wasn't booked? That's okay. In that case, leave it to me. I'll call them now.
It's not that I didn't book it, Monica. I just canceled it.
Huh? Why?
Because I'm breaking up with you.
What?
I can't do this anymore. I had no idea you were this irrational and lacking in common sense.
Common sense? Don't be so nasty. What does that mean?
Do you seriously still not get it?
Duh. That's why I'm asking, dummy.
You sold the engagement ring you took without my permission from a closed drawer in a room I told you not to go in. Your attitude when you found out that you had no hope of getting it back was awful. It was like you didn't care. Then, in spite of knowing the ring cost me $25,000, you didn't even show an inkling of any kind of sense of personal responsibility. Instead, basically ordering me to go out and get you a new one, like I'm your personal ATM. You genuinely seem to have no idea whatsoever of how awful and problematic your behavior is. I can't do this anymore. I just can't.
Oh my god!
Please, never contact me again.
Bryant, wait, please? How am I the bad guy here all of a sudden? I didn't do anything wrong! Ugh, Bryant!
A few days later, I sent Monica a compensation claim for the engagement ring through my lawyer. My lawyer, unbelievably, told me the response he got was, "That ring was a present for me, so it makes no sense that I have to pay compensation." And she refused to pay. I was at my wit's end, and playing nice was going to get me nowhere. So, I decided to tell her parents everything. The next day, I received a letter of apology through my lawyer, and the entire sum was paid into my bank account. Monica was forced to go and live back at her folks' place, and ordered to sign a written pledge agreeing to never come near me or contact me again. I heard her parents made her start work at a friend's factory, so she could start making her payments on the $25,000 they very kindly lent her. However, I recently heard from one of our mutual friends that now, even to this day, she still insists that she did nothing wrong, constantly complaining about me. Why did he do this to me? It's not fair. He also told me that other people in her life are finally starting to get sick of her bad-mouthing everyone, like she's Little Miss Perfect and can do nothing wrong. She's losing friends, one after the other, and if she's not careful, she'll be completely on her own before long.
Kyoto, is now a good time?
Oh, hey, Nanae. What's up?
There's something really important I want to talk to you about.
Sounds serious. Did something happen?
Well, yes it did. I think you're going to be super shocked by what I'm about to tell you. So please prepare yourself.
Okay, so what's going on?
I'm out doing my freelance work at a cafe in a shopping center. And your mom was sat in a seat right behind me until just now.
Huh? My mom?
We had our backs to each other. It seems like she didn't realize I was behind her at all.
That's unusual. It's not like my mom to be out drinking tea in a cafe.
So, anyway, she was with some guy I didn't recognize.
Huh?
I overheard them saying all sorts of things. It seemed like the man she was with was her lover.
What? Wait, what? What are you talking about?
You must be shocked. I couldn't believe it myself. I started recording their conversation as soon as I realized what was going on. I want you to listen to it later.
I see. Okay, I will.
I am sorry to have messaged you with this kind of thing. But there's no way I could keep it to myself.
Don't worry about it. It must have been really unpleasant for you to suddenly find yourself listening to something so awful. I'm sorry for my mom's behavior.
Don't be silly. You have nothing to apologize for, Kyota.
Let's carry on talking about this at the house, okay? Probably gonna have to let my dad know what's going on, too.
Right, okay. Nanae, are you there? Hello. There's a little thing I want to ask you to do for me. Oh, what is it? Well, you see, the week after next, from Thursday until Sunday, would you mind stopping by the house every now and then to check my husband? Your husband? That's right. There's a school reunion being held in my hometown on the Saturday. So I plan on staying with my parents for a little while since they're close by. But, as you know, my parents live a very long way away. Of course. It takes about 5 hours from here, including changeovers from both the bullet and the regular trains, right? That's right. That's why it makes more sense to stay over at my parents' place. I'd like to have plenty of time to relax while I'm there. I see. So you plan on leaving the Thursday after next, is that right? Don't get me wrong, my husband is quite capable of looking after the house by himself. But I'm probably just worrying too much. But I would be grateful if you could show your face at the house every now and then, just to check on how he's doing. Oh, and he'll be working as usual on Thursdays and Fridays, so you'll only need to check him on the evenings on those days. Got it. I do freelance work from home, so I'm fairly flexible when it comes to my schedule. Sure, leave it to me. I want your mind to be at ease. Thank you, Nanae. You're such a sweetie. That's okay. Kyota, your mom just messaged me. It's just like I thought. She's planning on going away. From Thursday till Sunday, the week after next, apparently. She asked me to check in on your dad every now and then while she's gone.
Even while she's away doing that, she still worries about my dad. Either that, or it's some kind of trick to try to camouflage what she's doing.
I don't know anything about that. But I do know that the school reunion she's supposedly going to doesn't exist. I know this must be difficult for you, Kyota. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I'm pleased you told me.
What about your dad? You met him at a local restaurant and told him everything, right?
Yeah, we're together now, actually. I played him the recording, too.
Your poor dad. How did he take it?
Well, you see, turns out he actually suspected my mom was up to something for a while now.
He did?
He said he had an inkling something fishy was going on, but was depressed and anxious because he had no evidence. He seemed weirdly relieved when I told him, as if he was finally able to process his feelings. I mean, I guess I kinda understand what he means.
I see. Well, if your dad's mind made up, that just leaves one thing.
Yeah, you're right. Let's settle this.
Yeah. Hey, how are the preparations for your school reunion going? Are you having a good time? Oh, hello, Nanae. Yes, I'm having a blast. I am back in the family home after all. The house might be in my brother's name now, but that's not to say my dad isn't still alive and kicking. There's something so soothing about being back at the house I grew up in. Really? I'm so pleased to hear that. Did you want something? Oh, please forgive me. I messaged you because there's a little something I wanted you to confirm with me. What is it? Am I right in thinking the school reunion's being held tomorrow? Saturday, right? That's right. All of my old friends from high school will be getting together to catch up over some drinks. By the way, and this is just between us ladies, okay? But apparently my first boyfriend, the first boy I ever fell in love with, is coming too. To tell you the truth, I feel a bit giddy. But don't tell Kyota or my husband about that, will you? Oh, you're such a minx. Look at you all loved up like a teenage girl. I thought with you being a girl too, you'd understand what it feels like to get giddy over a boy. That's nice. To be honest, I think I'd rather not understand the feelings of someone who cheats on their husband. What? Let's just be straight with each other, shall we? This school reunion of yours never existed, did it? Of course it does! Just like I told you, it's being held in my hometown! It's just there are a few things that seem more than a little strange to me. For example, when Kyoya asked your husband, he said he had no recollection of you mentioning anything like that. Huh? I did think there was a chance you might just forgot to tell him, though. So, you know how the 3 houses around your parents' place belong to your old classmates from high school? When we asked them about the reunion, none of them had heard anything about it. We even tracked out some of your other classmates and asked them too, but surprise, surprise, no word of any kind of reunion. How do you explain all of this? Well, Where are you right now? I already told you, I'm at my parents' house. That's strange, because I'm at your parents' house right now. What? No one here knows anything about you coming home. admit it. You're not here, are you? Oh, that's right. No, I'm not there yet. Oh dear, I forgot to tell them. I forgot in my head if it wasn't screwed on. Really? I, decided on a whim to stop by at a nearby tourist spot on the way. I never planned on coming here originally, so I admit this has all been rather careless of me. It appears I surprised you all. But I'm sorry to have troubled you. But would you please stop with these strange accusations that I'm having an affair? People might get the wrong idea. I feel guilty if I showed up on the doorstep announced and I was staying out of the blue, even if they are my family. That's why I decided to book a hotel, so I'll be staying there for tonight. I'm so sorry for the hassle, but please, could you pass the message on to my family? There are some things that just don't add up, though. What do you mean? Why don't you seem concerned about the fact that I'm suddenly at your parents' house? Aren't you curious as to why? Well, on top of that, you still haven't given me an adequate explanation as to why there's no evidence of this school reunion actually existing. Well, that's, Kyota wants to speak to you now. Huh? Kyota? Oh no, you're with Kyota right now? Yes, we're together. What is this? Am I being interrogated? You'll be getting a message from him now.
Mom.
Kyota. Nanade was saying all sorts of strange things about me just now. It's not true. Just ignore her.
His name's Takano, right? The guy you're cheating on Dad with?
What?
I won't go into detail, but sure enough, we know everything. It was pretty easy to find out the rest once we knew his name. Takano's the guy you mentioned in your message to Nanae. Your first boyfriend from back in high school, right? You two reignited your old relationship when you were reunited at a school reunion 5 years ago. When you caught wind of him having just divorced his wife, you invited him for a drink and ended up spending the night together in a hotel. After that, when he started getting serious about you, he decided to move to our town where you lived with Dad. Captivated by his intensity, you got serious about him too. And you resolved to use Dad's impending retirement as your opportunity to file for a divorce. You planned on coming up with some nonsensical reasons to justify the divorce so that you couldn't be held legally responsible. And we're getting ready to take half of Dad's stuff, including his pension and alimony. Then marry Takano so the two of you could live happily ever after. Does that sound more or less accurate? Feel free to correct me if I got anything wrong. But let me make one thing clear. That is not mere guesswork or speculation.
How on earth?
Listen up, Mom. Remember that time you met Takano for a coffee at that cafe inside the shopping center a little while back? While you were sat and merrily chatting away, a certain acquaintance of yours was sat with their back to you in the seat directly behind you.
What?
That person heard everything, from the two of you reminiscing with delight over being reunited, all the way up until the situation between the two of you today. Including your little scheme to try and steal Dad's retirement money, among other things. They recorded everything from start to finish and handed it over to me as proof. We did some further research based on the recording, and that's how we know what we know now.
What? Someone recorded us? Who was it?
That's not important. By the way, as for Dad's retirement next week, that pension money you've got in your crosshairs will be getting paid into a different bank account to the one his salary goes into every month. Which means you won't be able to get your greedy hands on it. I guess you could call it Dad trusting his gut. It's not necessarily that he had any evidence you were doing what you were doing. Somehow or other, he felt like having his retirement fund paid into a separate bank account would be the right thing to do, and it looks like he was right.
No way!
There's one more important thing I've got to tell you. The proceedings for your divorce with Dad are already well underway.
What?
You already had some divorce papers with your signature on it stashed away in the drawer in your dresser, didn't you?
How did you know about...
We found them while we were getting your belongings together.
What? My belongings?
Here's a message from Dad. What the hell are you playing at? Think you'd do something like this at your age? I don't need a wife who cheats on me. Looks like you already had the divorce papers ready. So I did you a favor and took them down to the registration office. However, I fully intend on extracting as much compensation as I can out of you and Takano. Goodbye.
Please, wait.
We got all your belongings together and had them dropped off at your parents' house.
What?
We went out of our way to rent a moving van and have them taken there for you.
Why would you do such a thing?
Isn't it obvious? You're divorced now, which means you have nowhere else to go but your parents' place, right? The house belongs to Dad, after all.
You have no right to go doing that without my permission.
Rights? Permission? You lost any claim to those things when you decided to cheat on Dad. Besides, weren't you the one planning to file for divorce? All Dad did was put his signature next to yours on the papers you already had. What's the problem? Shouldn't you be pleased?
No, you've got this all wrong. It's not like that.
Anyway, Dad asked me to tell you to only contact him through his lawyer from now on.
His lawyer?
As for me and Nanae, we don't really feel like speaking to you ever again.
Wait, Kyota! It turned out my mother-in-law was in the middle of a lover's holiday at a famous tourist spot near her parents' place. 2 hours after the last message, she turned up at her old house where Kyota's dad was, and frantically rang the doorbell. Apparently my stepdad completely ignored her, at which point she went to mine and Kyota's house. However, since me and him stayed the night at a hotel on the way back from his parents' house, we didn't end up seeing her. And then my mother-in-law was forced to pay compensation to my dad. But her lover, who had used his entire pension to cover it, was furious with her, and their relationship fell apart. "This is all your fault," he said. She didn't like the idea of having to go back to live with her parents either. Now she's living in a cheap rundown apartment a little way away from her hometown, working like a dog to pay the compensation she owes to my stepdad. Up until this whole affair, she'd been a stay-at-home wife this whole time. As such, she probably would have never imagined she'd end up spending what should have been her retirement years working to exhaustion.